Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Ricardo, the roleplay gamer, and I like to party. Welcome to Absolver. This is a martial arts action RPG where you can customize your fighting style as you progress through the game. It's actually quite interesting and unique. At least it's nothing like I've ever played before, and I'm having a lot of fun with it, surprisingly enough. So we're going to jump into it here. We're going to give it its due, give it its one video. If you guys want to see more, do let me know in the comments below, and I'm going to explain to you all about Absolver as we go along. That was a very awkward sentence, but I'm cool with that. I've made my peace with it. Let's move on. So let's create a character here. You know, we've got our origin, which as far as I can tell, just determines sort of, you know, skin color. We're going to go for the ice marshes for that slight olive sort of action there. I'll go through all the hairstyles for you so you can just see what we got going on here. But I think I already know what I'm going to pick. We're just going to go for normal, going to go for straight because there's a very specific sort of aesthetic I'm going for here. Alright, so we got our three starting combat styles. First, you've got the balanced, the forsaken, which apparently is quite difficult. Now, the difficulty might be pertaining to the active ability. So it says, you know, balanced combat style with a slight focus on strength, and the active ability is parry. You'll get to see that later on what the active ability is about. So that blocks completely, as it says, the attack and the stun of your opponent. So we've got the cult method, which, you know, this is a very bad way to explain it, but it's essentially the tank, I guess, as close to a tank as you can get. So it seems like they're a little bit tougher, a little bit slower, and then maybe they hit harder. And they're all about absorbing, you know, dismisses the stun of the attack. The lost health can be recovered. There you go. And then there's the windfall. What's all this? Hang on. The difficulty here is odd. It's maybe that's a little bit bugged. I don't know. This is pre-release, you know, so it's not out until I think the 29th, but you know, I'll double check that. The information will be in the description. Yeah, so usually it's like Windfall is the easiest. I think Forsaken is the hardest maybe, and Cult is the middle ground there, but it's not displaying. Anyway, so just, you know, before we go any further, I have received this for free from the developers for the purpose of, I don't know, reviewing it or doing a let's play or whatever, but rest assured that does not color my opinion of the game one way or another. So the last combat style here is, you know, Windfall improves mainly dexterity. So this is your fast moving sort of ducking and weaving kind of guy. I played mostly with Windfall. It's, you know, it's pretty cool. I like it very much. Its active ability is Avoid. So you're just ducking out of the way of shit, right? So I'm actually going to go for Forsaken here. I think the balanced is more my style. You know, I've played around with the Cult, and it's just not for me. I do like to be fast, so I do like Windfall, but I also like to hit hard, so I think the balanced is definitely the way to go. And we're going to make a character in honor of the greatest Earth fighter that ever there was, Keanu. Alright, let's do it. Let's jump in here. So, you know, there seems to be a story here, absolutely, but as far as I can tell from my about hour and a half, I'm going to skip this because I don't want to spoil anything for you. We're just going to jump in. It's all about gameplay here. And if you guys are interested, I don't want to spoil the sort of grandiosity of the intro there. And of course, you guys just want to see me play. All right, so the story seems to be told in a very maybe hands-off way. So the story is shown to you. You know, it's not necessarily told. And there's not just like big chunks of, it doesn't hit you with exposition from the beginning. You've got to work it out a little bit, which I appreciate, you know. And as you can see, it's quite a beautiful world. And interestingly enough, this first vista you get is not actually indicative of the kind of beauty and splendor you see later on. Like there are clearings like this where you get to overlook and like what's to come, areas that you haven't reached yet, and it's like they get really, like, they're sexy. There are some really nice looking areas. So, you know, you go through a very short tutorial, and I'm just going to take you through it real quick so you sort of get the idea of the basic systems here. We're locking on there, you know, switching between opponents, just so that you're not completely lost once we do get to the combat. So it's as simple as, you know, chaining attacks. You're just hitting your square in the case of a PS4 controller, or that would be X on Xbox, I believe. I am playing on PC. I just prefer the PS4 controller. All right, so you've got these, you know, these different sort of stances here that you can switch between, which are pretty cool. And that all ties into, you know, you putting your your fighting style together, which you'll see shortly. So you've just got 2 attack buttons, but that's sort of all you need. So it's not so much, the combat is a little more about timing and less about necessarily like hitting the right things at the right time, if that makes sense, you know? So you customize your build, your fighting style, and then you let it happen. But it's definitely a game about timing, which is doomed to failure then for me, you know. There we go. So I just did a dank parry. It's not easy to do. So this isn't the sort of game where you necessarily want to button mash. You know, you do get rewarded for chaining your attacks together in perfect timing, which I can't always do very well. You do get rewarded for it, I believe, with speed and maybe more damage, but I'm not entirely sure on that particular front. But it's not necessarily something you need to mash with. This guy's not going to fight back. We can just practice on him, you know. So it's not something you need to mash, you know. If you can mash and you'll do it fine, but you're not going to chain together with that perfect timing and get those dank bonuses. So it's interesting in that it can be frantic, but it can also be very methodical. You can just like sort of stand back and size everyone up, and then boom, 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 boom. You know. I'm not spamming here. I'm just sort of. It's almost relaxing. It's relaxing but thrilling at the same time. So I have I did get a chance to play in the beta that went on like a few months ago, and I'll be honest, I didn't like the game. I didn't, and I think my biggest gripe was that the combat felt very unintuitive. It's like the timing that they wanted. Sorry, my headphones are falling off. The timing they wanted you to pull off was very unintuitive. Like it wasn't based on the rhythm of so we have to find and defeat Silan. It wasn't based on the rhythm of your moves, you know. I'm just showing you that there are alternate places to sort of go through here, and we'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, I feel like since the beta, they've really tightened up the controls to the point that it's a hell of a lot more accessible, but I don't think it's any... I wouldn't necessarily... Like, it's easier because it's more accessible. Sure, yes, okay, there's an element of it being easier now. But it's not any less deep as a result. You know, I feel like all they've changed is they've just tightened up the timing of it a little bit. Alternatively, I could just be smoking a big fat one, and maybe they haven't changed anything. And, get out of here, buddy. And maybe I've just inexplicably understood the game a hell of a lot better. But, you know, an hour and a half in, and I've beaten 2 bosses. They're classified as mini bosses, but, you know, to inflate my ego, I'm going to call them bosses. So back onto the subject of, you know, unlocking paths and whatnot. So this is, look, I'm just fighting through it, you know, but essentially what we've got is, you know, I'll lock on here. We can dodge like that. And then we've got a parry, which I showed you before, like the very first, you know, fight we were in there. I parried, which is the special ability. So you do that, you know, by blocking. Everyone does it by blocking, and then you move the left analog stick in time and in the right direction with the attack, and it, you know, will absorb or parry or dodge, and that's what the 3 classes sort of are all about there. So this is the tutorial boss, for lack of a better word. Oh, there we go. So it's pretty good. So you've got a few ways to sort of defend here, which I appreciate. You can just jump out of the way, which for me is the easiest, so I tend to prefer that. You know, stamina permitting, or you can just, God, you can just block, or you can go for the ultimate challenge here and actually go for your special defense sort of thing. There we go. I did it. That's the one. That was a parry. And there is a very good reason for doing that more difficult parry special ability, and that reason is you learn attacks quicker. So you actually the way you progress, you level up, sure, but the way you learn new moves is by fighting fighters that know those moves, use them against you, and if you block and they use that move on you, you get a little bit of experience towards that move. It's a really cool system, because it's almost like, it's a little bit like the Elder Scrolls in reverse. So instead of like using the ability to learn it, you're you're learning it from your enemies. I love it. I really love it. So there's a risk reward sort of thing going on. It's like, do I want to dispatch someone quickly because they're kicking my ass, or do I hold on and let them punish me a little bit so I can learn their attacks, right? And when you defend with your special ability, whether it's parry or absorb or dodge or whatever it is, you learn it faster, right? It's a fantastic system. All right, so back to unlocking, alternate paths and whatnot. This is Dark Souls, all right? Straight up, it's Dark Souls. I think it's just a bit of a smaller world. So, this guy's just capping off the tutorial for me. He's telling me that there are friendly guys out in the world here, and here's one of them. So, I can meditate to build my deck, which is what I'm going to do now. But yeah, it's essentially, it's mini Dark Souls, and for someone who really wants to get into Dark Souls, but just can't because I'm terrible at it, I actually really, really like Absolver. I'm not absolute trash at the game, and it's got a style to it. For one, it runs better for me than Dark Souls. But don't get angry. Performance, you need to understand, is a very fickle thing, and it can change from system to system. All right, so we're going to meditate here. So actually, I see a lot of people comparing it to For Honor, and I gotta wonder where the hell they're getting that from. It's nothing like For Honor. It's martial arts Dark Souls. This is something you need to be aware of. And I feel like once people understand that, I think they're gonna love it a hell of a lot more than maybe they would have thinking it was For Honor. Okay, so, we've got our basic sort of stats to level up here, and handily enough on the left, it'll actually highlight, what's being affected by picking all this stuff. So dexterity increases damage of attacks based on dexterity. Health, we can increase health. Of course, strength, attacks based on strength. Endurance increases maximum stamina. I'm actually going to go with endurance, but let's read through the rest. Increases the quantity of tension caught and stored in a shard when performing a successful defensive ability. So you've got like sort of Estus Flask type abilities as well that maybe they fill up based on that. So the higher your will, the more they fill up, the quicker they fill up from combat, something like that. And mobility. So I think this has to do with mobility results from equipped weight, increases damage of attacks based on mobility, increased stamina recovery speed, right? So maybe it's a compensator for the weight of your armor. And there is armor, there's itemization here. So, you can customize your character visually as well as in terms of the stats. But we'll go with endurance because I usually find myself running out of stamina pretty quickly. Really? We leveled up twice, I didn't even notice. All right, we'll flatten out dexterity. This is going to be a little bit, all over the place because I haven't really played a hell of a lot with this particular combat class. Like I said, I played mostly with Windfall, but that's the way it goes. So this is your sort of item inventory, and it's just you pick stuff up along the way. I'm not sure if there's a backpack. I don't think you get penalized for carrying too much stuff. I don't think there's any sort of inventory management at all, as far as I can tell. I could be wrong. But just you pick something and you slot it on, and it increases your stats. It looks cool. That's the way it goes. There are weapons. We haven't got any at the moment. And then your powers. You start off with heal, which... Oh, fine. I'll just show you. We don't need to, but there you go. It's quick. You can do it in combat if you're smart about it. There we go. So you do get to points where, oh god, there you go, where you're fighting multiple guys at once. Sometimes you're forced to do it. Sometimes you can get out of it. All right, let's hold off. There we go. Hang on, was that a parry? I don't think so. Because you got to do it in the right direction as well. It's really different. This is the hardest thing to time. Oh god, no, he got me. See, when your stamina... There you go. We learnt a little bit from him. When your stamina is dropped to the floor, baby, then you can run as well. There you go. Then you get, your block gets broken. Here we go. Here's a nice dank vista for you. So it's definitely got, this nice exploration vibe to it that I appreciate a great deal. If you're the kind of person who gets really stressed out about not having a map and not knowing where you are, then you might have a problem with this game. But I'm that sort of person. But if you can resign to just the fact of, let's wander and just see what happens. There's a little bit of exploration here, which is kind of cool. I appreciate it very much. The landscapes and the architecture, I think it's beautiful. It is. It's fantastic. It's just a really nice looking game. And it runs really well for me. The only time it dips below 60 is the transition between areas. There are no, aside from what you just saw, I haven't come across any loading screens. It seems like a big seamless world as far as I can tell. For those who were interested, I've got a i7 6700, 16 gigabytes of RAM and an AMD Radeon R9 390. And it's rock solid for me. But again, performance issues, that doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be good for you. So here we go. This is the beginning, right? So we've got an altar, which is essentially your bonfire, sort of. It's like bonfire light, because if you die, you don't always come back to it. You come back to the start of the area. From here, you can engage in the social stuff, because there are online components, so you can party up with people and go out and kill some shit. You can also do 1v1, and supposedly the devs have said that they're going to bring in 3v3 later on, and maybe spectator mode, I think, as long as additional content, items and more moves and that sort of stuff, it's really interesting. That's pretty cool. I haven't been able to find anyone yet, because you need to understand don't forget, this is pre-release, right? I just got the code a couple of hours ago, and it's over a week before it actually releases, I think. So we may not find anyone. But there's also, because we're online, there's a possibility that we'll actually find people wandering around. So it's sort of like, it's like being invaded in Dark Souls, but they're just there by default, and they don't have to kill you. If you come across someone, you can like, hang on, let me show you. So you can be like, where is it? There we go. You can go, hey, let's, I mean you no harm, or something like that, or don't you do it, right? Or you can just fuck them up if you want. So you can fight them, or you can join with them. It's your choice, it's an interesting system, Okay, so can we meditate and do some moves yet? Yeah, so we can go into practice here, which is great. This is a tool for, of course, practicing, oddly enough. And also building your moves. So we can have a look at some of the weapons here. We've got, what do they call them? Like some sort of fist. I don't know. It's some sort of fist. I don't know. And then you've got sort of a sword kind of thing, which is pretty cool. Haven't actually found a proper sword like this out in the wild, but I've come across other weapons that seem to randomize a little bit. The landscapes are not random, but it seems like specifically which enemies are showing up might be random, and also loot seems random. All right, so let's do it. So this might be a little bit confusing. I'm going to try my best to sort this out for you. So okay, so you'll notice to the left of the currently selected move there with a sword. Actually, no, let's move back to, let's actually build a proper thing. So we'll go to our fists. All right, so that move there with that high punch, it's got a little wedge, showing the top right. That's where it starts, right? And then it moves into that same spot. So that sequence of those two moves starts in that position and ends in that position, right? So I think what I want to do is pick a skill that then chains to a different position, I think, because then I don't have to manually switch positions. It's lazy meta, don't worry about it. Okay, so do we have a kick? I would love to throw in a kick, because we've also got alternate attacks on the side that we can mess with as well. So if we do kick, okay, so that's good. So we've got a kick that turns into that next one, right? And we can put in, like, God, what did we have in there before? What have we got? Can we put that in? We can put that in. That's gonna be a little bit brutal, yeah? Why not? That's gonna be hot. And then what can we put in here? Presumably something we haven't used. Right, see what's going on here? So if we go back here, we've got the first line should chain into the second. Right? And we've only got the first 2 lines unlocked for the moment, but, you know, fairly soon you'll unlock the rest. I think that's... You don't have to do that, but that's what I wanted to do. Right? So we've got 4 moves going on here that we've chained together. There you go. That's the one. I just built a style. It's beautiful. Gain some stamina, and then with the alternate attacks actually change styles automatically. So that's sort of another way to do it. I know it seems a little bit confusing. So you can, you know, you can switch your stance at the bottom. That sort of clock moving is your stance. You can switch your stance between 4 stances, you know, with your chain together moves, you know, straight away with your alternate moves. It seemed pretty powerful. Or you can just hold R2 and switch them like that if you want. Presumably though, it only works if you've got a move, a deck, if you will, whatever you want to call it, a sequence that starts on that particular position. I know, to explain it is crazy. It sounds obtuse, but you know, once you sort of wade through the first, like, what the shit just happened? It starts to make sense, and it's actually pretty cool. Alright, let's talk to this dude. To become an Absolver, you will have to prove your worth and defeat Rizrin in the Hanging Gardens. But first you must beat Kuretz in the Colosseum, and Kilnor and her brother Kargel in the... Okay, cool. Don't even wait for me to... And the 6 marked ones roaming the city in the forest. So the marked ones are sort of your mini-bosses, and the big guys are the other ones he mentioned as your sort of main bosses. And then, once we've done all that, then we can ascend the tower and become, you know, an Absolver. So I don't think we're an Absolver yet, but we will be, right? We'll get there. So supposedly once you've defeated all the bosses, you've completed the game, but you can jump back in, you can help other people out, you can fight other people and whatnot. So there's also sort of a mentor system. You can, once you reach a certain level, which has to be, you have to do combat trials, so you have to do 1v1s, I think, on the side there, yeah? I think that's what you have to do. Then you can create a school and tutor people and help them learn shit and whatnot. I don't know. It sounds pretty cool. But again, I haven't come across anyone yet because it's pre-release. So I believe that's the map. That's what we're looking at there. The yellow dots are the mini-bosses. The red dots are perhaps the big bosses. I've defeated 2 of the mini-bosses so far. I was actually pretty proud because they seemed difficult at first. Alright, which way do I want to go? I'm actually going to go... So there are 2 major paths here, is that right? Hang on, I want to... Oh, wait. I haven't gone this way yet. Which way does this go? Where does that take me? Oh, that's another way again. I haven't gone that way. I haven't, but I'd like to go the docks first because I'm familiar with it. And it's not too long to get to a boss. So I feel like, you know, I feel like if you're really, really good at the game, you can probably finish it in not too long. Don't feel confident giving an hour's estimate, but it's got to be at least 10 to 15 hours, surely. Alright. And then, you know, presumably you can go play other styles, you can jump back in with your character and cause some trouble and just mess with people. Oh god, don't do that, baby. Yeah, as you can see, the balance seems to pack a punch. I like it. You know, they're reasonably fast, but they hit hard. And that appeals to me on a very deep and personal level. So let's see if we can grab some loot. That would appeal to me. So you can, like, you can fall off places. You can, oh, here we go. You can, you can totally fall to your death, which is fantastic. There we go. This is actually... Don't do that. This is... What's going on, dude? Die already. There we go. Alright. This is appearing a little easier than last time. That's good. It's fine by me. Here we go. Here's a weapon. Alright, so I believe this is going to be temporary. It's not the sort of weapon that you hold on to. I believe there are weapons that you can hold on to, and they'll show up as powers. So you end up summoning them with the D-pad. But let's see if we can Sparta this guy. There was actually an achievement for it. I knocked this guy... There we go. I knocked this guy clean into the water before actually killing him. And I got a little achievement that was like, this is... whatever the name of the realm is. It starts with an A, I'm not entirely sure. But from what I can gather so far, the story seems to be something along the lines of humanity has fucked up this city, and now we're kind of going in to clean it up. Sort of. There you go. So my weapon just ran out. Get out of here. Alright, look. Tone down the slop, buddy. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. But totally, what I love about this is there's, you know, a sloppy, quick and dirty way to beat someone, and there's an optimal way to beat someone, you know. It's all just a matter of, like, how efficient you want to be. If you just need to get the fight done, you know, by all means, go ahead and do it, and not worry about learning skills. But, you know, you can always go back, because enemies respawn. It's just like Dark Souls. When you sit at the altar, you know, enemies will respawn. So that's the first... well, not the first, but that is a mini-boss. It's, I think it's the closest one. Alright, so we've just got a little bit of Elite Scout plates. It's beautiful. It's, you know, you end up with some cool stuff, but, you know, to begin with, you got to start somewhere, right? You got to start somewhere. So let's meditate here. Looks like we've got something that we can increase here. I would like to increase endurance again, just so that we can chain those attacks a little bit longer. Have we learnt something? So we've actually got, it shows us a log of, you know, everything that we know, stuff we don't even know yet. So this is, you know, moves that we haven't even seen yet. And then moves that we're learning. So it'll show you when you get hit with a move that you're currently learning. So you can be like, all right, this enemy has some stuff that I can learn from, and I can just like hang around and let him do his stuff. All right. So this might not go so well because I'm tagging him on pretty early, but I want to see you. I want to show you one of the mini bosses. All right. So, straight off the bat, bad start, because I forgot which button was block. Alright, I'm going to maybe try and dodge a little more with this guy, I don't know. Oh, God, alright. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, okay, he's onto me. Yeah, baby, what do you think of that? Oh, God, that's not what you want. Alright, let's heal up. Okay. Oh shit. That was brutal. Yeah, he might wipe the floor with me here. If I can just hold out. Look, I've gotten him down to half health. At least there's that. Oh god, yeah. I might be a little bit under-leveled for him. Look, I'm not going to say that he can't be beaten at this early stage. But no doubt it's easier if you go and take out a few more grunts instead of level up. Oh, good lord. Get out of here. We're almost got him too. Oh, yes. Makes me feel like a big man. There you go. So it's shown the map and one of the orange lights went out. There we go. We've leveled up. We've taken our first mini boss. Incredible. They're not all that easy. Make no mistake. Alright, I'm starting to see some of the same loot. So maybe... I don't know. I've noticed, you know, there has been... I don't know. I'm not just not going to comment on it because I just don't know whether the loot is randomized or not. But there you go. We've just gotten some dank pads from him rather. So I'll just get to jump back into equipment here. So it does wait a second. Do we have... Here we go. So, you know, we got blunt and cut protection, and it also shows weight. So presumably you want to be as light as possible. I don't know, but then maybe just boost your mobility stat to counteract it. It's a distinct possibility. So, alright, so listen, what are these guys doing respawning? I just gained a dank power from that mini boss. It's fine. Look, my fiery leg thirsts for justice. Oh yeah, I'll parry you all day long. Feels so good to parry. Get your long legs out of my face. Alright, we're good. Don't even worry about it. So yeah, we can, you know, we can go on and check out the ruins, which leads to another area, which leads to another area. And we've got 2 other areas to explore over there. You know, the world feels pretty big. You know, it's not, I don't believe it's as big as you know, Dark Souls or whatever. But it's very good at making you feel like it's pretty big. It's just the way it's designed, the architecture, and just the whole it's just the vibe of it. It's beautiful. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna leave it there for now. Hey, this is sort of almost turned into a first impressions, hasn't it? Final thoughts. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's oddly relaxing in a frantic way, you know. Just looking around and exploring shit, is fun. But also the combat, it's not button mashy. In fact, you encouraged not to button mash, despite the fact that it's, you know, a frantic martial arts sort of game. And I think I appreciate that. It's just accessible enough for a butt like me to be able to play it and get into it and enjoy it and not feel like I suck. And I feel like there is the potential depth there, and of course the customization, which you guys know I'm all about. There's, you know, some beautiful customization there, not just in the items you find, and decking yourself up with dank gear, which I love with every fiber of my being, but also actually building your character and customizing your style there. I love it. I'm excited to play more. Anyway, guys, like I said, let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see this turn into a series. If so, we call this episode 1. If not, no worries. It's a cool game nonetheless. Check it out if you so desire. Thank you guys very much for watching. Taste the game, be excellent to each other, and I'll see you next time. Roleplay Gamer, out.